So, Gone in the Night is really quite the treat. It's such a great little intricate thriller. I didn't know what to expect, and I loved it. What was it about it though that really drew your attention and want to be a part of it?
Well, you've seen the role of Barlow was really, really an attraction, really a great role for me. But I already knew that Winona was going to be in it, and especially I'd already worked with Eli Horowitz on Homecoming. I played a few scenes in that show for Amazon that they developed off of that original podcast that he did. So I just felt so lucky to get repeat business out of anybody, and got a lot of love for Eli anyhow. But when he called me, I didn't even really even have to think about it. It's such a complex, little twisted thriller tale. I know other people have managed to try and not spoil anything, but fire away. I'm ready to ruin the whole movie if you want me to. I think it helps sell it because whatever that other people are trying to obscure in the movie is really cool. So, why not tell people? Maybe they want maybe they want to see it.
I felt that way when I talked with both Eli and John. I was like, how do I dance around it or do I just go in?
No, I think I prefer we just go in so that way I can better talk about my character and what he's up to.
Sure.
But suffice it to say that the movie's an incredible mix of mystery and drama and whodunit and science fiction thriller all at once. So really, really cool job to play through.
So one of your character is really interesting in that for most of the movie, we don't realize that he's being two-faced, so to speak, with Winona. What was that like for you having to walk that fine line of holding this mystery in while presenting yourself to Winona as openly as possible?
Yeah, well, actors are liars, so that all comes naturally. But some of that, I have to be honest with you, had kind of be explained to me when I read and then reread the script. There was still a couple more layers that I needed Eli to help me to sort out. Even so, in that when I arrive at the flower shop originally, there's a reason for it. Because I gotta figure out how much she knows, right? But the scene doesn't play that note at all. It's nowhere in the dialogue. It's nowhere in the scene description. Barlow paces nervously. There's no clues. So until all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. So it's that kind of movie, not so much that you're even able to piece it together. It jumps across time a little bit, and plays that way to keep you in it.
So now I'm curious, with a movie like that, sometimes it is shot in just normal sequence. Sometimes it is shot, in accordance to jumping around in time. Was this one shot, just chronologically, or did it jump around for you as well?
Yeah, I'd say it probably jumped around. Most scripts, I mean, most shooting schedules do. Mainly, it's usually locations or actor availability or something that'll drive the schedule more than you have to really kind of carve it out and demand it to shoot something in order. But if you were going to do this with this movie, which order would which came first? So how
Right.
would you know what order to shoot it in if you're shooting it in chronological order? That'd be my argument against there. But I had just these fantastic scenes with Winona. Of course, you probably noted we worked together several decades ago, and it was amazing to reunite with such talent, such a popular actor. Amazing.
Did you find that it was easy for you to pick up that rapport again with one another off camera before they started
Very
rolling?
much so, and she surprised me at how open she was to me. In other words, yeah, she's just as fond of me as I am of her, and it's true blue, But you never really know. You haven't seen somebody in that long. Like, how are they going to remember? But we worked together on How to Make an American Quilt, and really, really lovely cast, incredible cast, especially looking back, as we've lost some of them. But to work with her when I was young, and she was even younger, and even some of that feel somehow plays in this movie, or I know that was part of Eli's intent was to sort of ring that sort of 90s bell a little bit somehow, to have yeah, to have those characters have a deeper resonance. So a lot of times they'll hire actors that they know will do that. But in this case, Eli was deliberate about it. Um, that I think the audience is meant to bring in their version of who they were back then. Because really, one of the things that this movie is about, of course, is aging. So that you'll see in the cast, I'd be in the oldest tier, then the Winona, and then the rest of the cast falls below that in a couple of age groups. So, but that too, in the design of this script is deliberate.
So since you do mention that theme, I mean, I love how the twist and the ultimate reveal of the experiments being done on John, how that plays into that theme. What was it like? What was your initial reaction when you got to that part in the script and learned of that?
Well, my initial reaction to you calling it an experiment is defensiveness, because it's not an experiment. It's working just great. But it is such a reveal in the script that that's what I meant when I said earlier. I kind of had to flip back and say, how did it get to that? But since you're sort of experiencing the movie as a re-engineering project, it's really cool when it all comes together and you realize that Barlow, somewhat of a loner, he kicked himself out of the tech world a while ago, doesn't really know that he had a son, but that is revealed as well to him, and then in the story that becomes a major twist. And why wouldn't a brilliant sort of off the grid scientist try to develop a formula to keep him alive forever? I mean, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, no, that seems like something that such a character would do.
Right. So that's what he's busy after. And one of the other twists in the story is, of course, at whose expense he's keeping himself from aging. And then the other layer on that is that he's not even that truthful about that. So.
Well, and what I love about that scene too, on top of that, is that it finally gets all of you guys in one room and playing off of one another. What was that like for you in that, filming that scene and getting to finally be with everybody at once?
The rest of the cast, I think, had other stuff to shoot, but that, for me, as you asked earlier, was in fact my last scene to shoot on the schedule for my character. So it had that culminating feeling for sure. And for such a small cast, there's really 5 of us in it, 4, plus other wonderful actors in minor roles. And for such a few people to cause so much tension in a film puts it in its own, in a particular genre of itself in a way, really. Those really tight, but maybe claustrophobic even, or closely knit casts that make movies exciting. That happens in this one until we all wind up in the same. You wouldn't call it a room; you'd call it a shipping container, where the process of avoiding death by aging is underway.
Yeah, you're right in that it's hard to categorize a genre for this thing. Every time I was watching, or the whole time I was watching, I was like,
that's a plus and it's a minus, I think, just in all honesty, because people are used to knowing what the But so the way that I describe this is just find out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Before I let you go, I do want to ask. We're getting to see you come up in Scream, the next Scream movie.
I see it in your background over there. And can I tell you, I just watched Scream 4 and 5 to prepare for my role in Scream 6, and they're great movies. It's so fun. So I'm really thrilled. I'm really thrilled to throw down with this great cast, much of the same lead cast from Scream 5, Scream 2022. So they're making another one right away. Thrilled to join up, and we're shooting as we speak.
It's pretty exciting. And then obviously, I'm sure you can't tell me everything about your character, but can you give me any little bit of insight of what we can expect from you in the film?
Yeah, I play a cop. So finally, they're asking me to play cops here and there. This is one of them. I guess I shouldn't say that my daughter is one of the victims, but I don't have to describe how or in what way. So that's what draws me into the story. Strong family ties.
Exciting. Well, I look forward to seeing that. And then for one final question, I'm a big fan of New Girl, and we keep hearing some of the cast throughout the idea of a revival. And so I'm curious, do you think there would be room for Russell to come back if it were to come back?
They couldn't even finish the show. They called him up for season 7. Right at that penultimate moment, they put him in. There'd be no keeping Russell out of the next rendition of New Girl. I didn't know that it was an actual conversation, but if it is a conversation, I'm in it. That show, I knew I was on a great job, but gosh, it's so impossible to tell what thing's gonna have the kind of staying power that even in the short amount of time that New Girl's not been shooting, that it has. It's impacted people's whole senses of humor, I've seen, and in wonderful ways. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I just sent in a little voice memo to Zoe and Lamorne and Hannah's. They have, I think they have a podcast where they talk about, yeah. So they asked me to say hello because they're talking about the Fancy Man episodes, and invited me to be on their podcast in the future to discuss it even more. But when I talk to them, I'm going to tell them that it's time. It's time. There's got to be more Russell to explain what happened.
That would be pretty exciting. Well, regardless of what the future holds, I look forward to, in the meantime, spreading the word about Gone in the Night. I did truly
appreciate it. Gone in the Night's amazing. Everyone who sees it's going to really enjoy it. And thank you, Grant. And Scream Rant has always been really a great supporter of my stuff. So I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that as well, Dermot. And hope you have a great weekend and have fun shooting Scream.
Yeah, you bet I will. Take care.
All right. Take care.